Hey everyone, this is Vincent Salento welcoming you to episode 3 of the Low Oxalate Kitchen podcast. This episode might be a little bit different than what you would normally expect here, but I do want to make sure I'm creating content for everyone that's on this diet, and that includes people that have issues with kidneys and kidney stones, any women out there that are struggling with oxalate issues that seem to be specific to them, and also just anyone who's having a tough time with their health in general and feels like oxalates might be a contributing factor. So in this episode, I sit down with actress, singer, artist, meditation instructor, and my beautiful girlfriend, Amy Rutledge. Amy's had quite the ride in life as far as health issues go, and she's done an unbelievable amount of work, both physical and emotional, to get to a place where she's feeling good and able to help other people to get to that same place. So we sat down to talk a little bit about her journey and how mindfulness and meditation have helped her along the way. She also shares a 14-minute-ish meditation that's perfect for anyone who's struggling with their physical health in any way. If you're like me, wanting to get into meditation and have had some trouble finding a style that fits you, maybe this can be that resource that you've been looking for. There are lessons in this episode for everyone, no matter your spiritual or religious beliefs. Mindfulness is, in extremely simple terms, just focusing on and enjoying the present moment, and meditation can be whatever you want it to be for you. So I hope you'll enjoy this episode. As always, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. You can also reach out to Amy, send her an email. She's meditatewithamy@gmail.com. You can get her current schedule of online meditation classes that you're able to join. And without further ado, please enjoy this episode with the lovely and talented Miss Amy Rutledge. Miss Amy Rutledge, welcome to the Low Oxalate Kitchen podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So I thought we would just start with a little bit of background about you, a little bit about your physical health history, maybe a little mental health history, whatever you want to share with the people and whatever you think is a good thing to, or a good place to start.
Sure. So I grew up in Northwest New Jersey, and when I was about 22 years old, I was bit by a deer tick, and I had Lyme disease. And at that time, there really wasn't a lot of information about it. I kind of knew what it was, and I knew that I had the bullseye, so I knew that that wasn't good. Mm-hmm. And then I went to the doctor, and they gave me 2 weeks of antibiotics, which is not nearly enough to help wipe it out. And then I went back a year later to a different doctor, and they said that I was misdiagnosed, that I never had Lyme disease. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just move on with my life. But I never felt good ever again. I was extremely tired, fatigued all the time, a joint pain. My short-term memory was affected. I would do crazy things, like I would leave the keys in my car while the car was still running and lock the door. Just do things like I had usually up until that point been very mentally sharp, had an amazing memory, and everything was just gone. And then so for the next decade, I spent in and out of doctor's office trying to figure out what was wrong. And all of them basically said that I was fine and that I had just had psychological issues, that I was crazy. I had basically people tell me. So I just kind of started to believe it. But, deep down in my heart, I just knew that something was wrong, very wrong. And then at this point, I was about 30, and I was getting really bad pains in my lower abdomen, and I was fainting. I was in and out of ERs, and again, everyone was telling me that everything's fine, there's nothing wrong, nothing was coming up on any blood work or scans. Well, one time I went into the ER, and my mom told me to get Lyme disease test, and I was like, no, Mom, I don't have that. And they told me I was misdiagnosed, but she was like, just do it. And I'm really glad I did, because the test came back and they told me I had a full-blown infection from Lyme disease. So from then on, I ended up having fibroid tumors. So I had a major abdominal surgery, and after recover, that was a really long recovery, I think, just because my immune system was so weak. It took me about 6 months to recover from that. And then from then, I started my treatments for Lyme disease. And the treatments were really horrific. They would switch the antibiotics every 3 months. And then I went to every different doctor I could possibly find. They all kind of had different things to say. And then another doctor told me that I had co-infections, so that I had Babesia and then I had Bartonella on top of the Lyme disease. So they kind of put me through this crazy treatment program. And, you know, there's not really like any protocol or like any way to treat this thing. It's kind of just, they just throw all these drugs at you and try to figure out what sticks. So you're kind of like a human guinea pig. And so every 3 months I would have to change the course of the antibiotics. I was on Malarone, and it was like because the Babesia is actually in the malarial family. So I was on that, and then 2 different kinds of antibiotics, and every 3 months I would switch. And every three months I would just go, my body would just go into shock and complete shutdown. And I won't get into details, but it was really traumatic. And then luckily I did find some healing. I began to meditate through all this. I noticed that when I was meditating, things started to shift in my life. I actually started off with a Deepak Chopra. They had this 21-day meditation challenge. It's free. And they do it every couple months, and I highly recommend it because it's really lovely, and it's just like pumping yourself with positive, peaceful messages. But anyway, so I started doing that, and then I also, at the same time, found this book through a friend. It was called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And I also highly recommend that book. And in it, she teaches you about mantras, and they're all like positive mantras to help heal, like whatever you're ailing from. There's a whole index in the back that you can look up whatever it is that's ailing you, and she'll give you the mantra to say for it. So I started doing that, and I noticed things started shifting. I noticed I started seeking better help. I noticed that I started attracting better support. I also noticed that my relationships were changing. So whereas I was surrounded by kind of toxic people in a toxic environment, I started attracting healthier, positive friends and partners. Up until that point, I had a lot of abusive relationships. So I noticed that there was a magnificent shift, and I do credit that to my meditation practice. Luckily, I am healed now, and I am very blessed. I realize that not a lot of people get to this point in their lives with dealing with Lyme disease. So it's a miracle for sure. And but I'm still kind of struggling a lot with mental health and the trauma of my life from childhood, and then also the trauma of being sick. So I have PTSD, anxiety, and depression that I'm sort of working through now. So that's where I'm at.
Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah, you definitely haven't had the easiest path so far, but it's definitely getting easier. I think that we can credit a lot of that to all the hard work that you've been putting in.
Thank you.
So do you remember how you first found Deepak or the Louise Hay book?
It was just by chance, really. I had a couple, I was acting at the time, and I was doing a play, and I know a lot of my friends knew that I was struggling so hard. And one of the girls that was in the play with me, she recommended the Deepak Chopra. And I was like, yes, please. Like, I will take anything at this point to relieve any sort of suffering. So that's how I came across that. And then 2 of my girlfriends, one told me like a year prior about the Louise Hay book, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll get to it. I have so many books on my shelf that I have yet to read. But then another one of my really good friends recommended me the book. So I was like, oh, this is a sign. 2 people now have recommended this book to me, and I'm actually going to, take it and read it. So that's how I found both sources.
Yeah, it's definitely good to have those kind of people in your life that are available to you to recommend those kind of things.
For sure. Yeah. Life-saving.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about like the different kinds of meditations you've tried, and maybe a little bit about the courses you took? And
yeah, so I decided to get my certification in mindfulness and loving kindness at the Nalanda Institute of Contemplative Sciences. That's in New York City. They also have a program for compassion, which I didn't take that one yet. That's another like semester of a program. So I started teaching that, but then I also kind of started to realize that in some ways the mindfulness, although it's an amazing tool and it's a great way to incorporate into your daily life as well, not only just in meditation practice, but also to be mindful about this, seemingly insignificant things or daily tasks. And it really relieves a lot of stress and suffering. But I found that through experiencing PTSD and anxiety and depression, that not necessarily worked all the time for me. I needed something more, and I feel creative visualization also was more helpful for me in those times of great stress. And it's just like a really healthy way of bringing positive energy into your mind and body, and just focusing your mind on more calming and serene images. And for me, it has an instant calming effect. I actually use this type of visualization when I'm currently doing EMDR, and it's a type of trauma therapy, and it's really helpful, and it's been saving my life. And to come out of the processing of the trauma, my therapist actually guides me into this calm space visualization or safe space visualization, and you basically just use your imagination to take you someplace in nature, and you kind of use all your senses to sort of visualize this. So it's wonderful because actually therapists and psychiatrists are actually using this technique for their patients. So this is also really helpful for me too in my daily life. I also like to do mantras, and that's what the Deepak Chopra, they teach you how to do mantras. And you're really just breaking up the negative thought patterns, and it's a little more active because you're focusing on something and saying something over and over in your mind to kind of ground yourself in the present moment. And then lately I've been doing the Tibetan sound bowl healing, and that's really wonderful. I bought myself a sound bowl, and I just learned how to make it sing, so it's really exciting. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time, and I actually brought it to a couple of my classes, and everyone loved it. But to do it on yourself is really amazing because you feel the vibrations going all the way through your body. When you're holding the bowl and you're hitting it, or you're making it sing, which is you kind of like stir the mallet around the bowl, and it makes this like wonderful singing noise. But I tell you, I've been doing it for the last week now, and I feel so uplifted, and it's probably the best I've felt in a really long time, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
I didn't know that you brought the sound bowl to the classes already. That's awesome. Yeah. People love it. So for a lot of people listening, this might be like their first sort of introduction to meditation, or the first time they consider actually doing it. I know it took me a long time to actually put a lot of the things I was reading into practice. And mindfulness is sort of a good place to start for a lot of people. So if you could maybe just give like a little more details about mindfulness-based meditation, maybe give an example of like how that translates to your daily life, or an example of somewhere that you've applied the mindfulness that you've learned through meditation to something in your everyday life.
Yeah, sure. So with mindfulness, it's just you're being aware, and it's helping you ground yourself in the present moment. Often we are so rooted in the past, and we're kind of just like circulating these movies in our head or thoughts in our head that are just just like charged with guilt, and the thoughts like I should have done this, or I should have said this, or regret is a common thing that we kind of like play over and over in our minds, or we are projected into future plans, anxiety, worry, death. These are all things that I think we all are consumed with. But it's very rare that we're spending any sort of time rooted and grounded in the present moment, which is the moment of peace, basically. And so with mindfulness meditation, I do recommend, if you can, doing 20 minutes in the morning and then 20 minutes in the evening. And one of the basic principles of mindfulness is just focusing on the natural rhythm of the breath. And you don't have to do anything. Your body breathes on its own. All you have to do is focus where you feel the breath the most distinctly in your body. So for instance, if you're focusing on the breath, one person might feel it most distinctly as the rise and fall of the belly. And you can even put your hand on your belly as you feel it rise and fall. In others, maybe it's more distinct in the extraction and contraction of your chest, your rib cage. Or maybe you just notice the moist, cool air at the tip of the nose as the breath flows in and out. And you're just focusing. And it's also really good because you're focusing and teaching concentration. And we use the breath because we have our breath with us 24/7. So we can use the breath to use as an object of focus to come back to the present moment at literally any time. So that's pretty awesome. You can also open that up to sounds. There are constantly sounds around us, from either inside the room or inside your body. Maybe you hear yourself breathing. Maybe you can hear sounds from the outside world, and you can just use that as the object of focus. And I think a lot of people, I think the misconception is that you have to stop the thoughts. And I think that's why a lot of people feel like meditation is very daunting, because they don't know how to stop their thoughts. But it's actually not about that at all.
It's actually impossible, right?
Yeah, it is. And especially since we've been trained that our entire lives, like you can't just sit down and be like, okay, I'm just not going to think anymore. It's just not going to happen. And then you're going to get frustrated. So, I mean, it's totally normal. Thoughts are normal. You just are guiding yourself back to the object of focus again and again. So when you notice a thought, it's not about, stopping the thoughts. It's about allowing the thought to be there without judgment and acknowledging that it's there, and then allowing it to pass on without identifying with it. So kind of like, you can just think of it as like watching tiny little clouds float by in the sky. And every time you have a thought, you can actually congratulate yourself, because finding that thought is mindfulness itself. So you can just think of it as little clouds softly floating by in the sky. You don't have to identify, you don't have to judge them. They just float by. So I think that's been really helpful for me in my practice.
Yeah, and sort of
to think of it in that way.
Right. And when you notice the cloud, the whole purpose of the meditation is to notice the cloud, and then notice that you've noticed the cloud, and then sort of come back to focusing on your breathing. It's sort of like a rep. If you're going to the gym and lifting weights, like doing the reps is the actual work. So if you're worried about not being able to focus on your breath or having those thoughts, like it's not the point, but it's half of the point. The point of the meditation is to notice the thought and then come back to the breath. And that's what you can call like, a quote unquote successful meditation, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's great. Oh, also mindfulness in the daily life.
Mm-hmm. Tell us more.
Yeah, sure. So you don't have to necessarily be, sitting on a meditation cushion every day, although I highly recommend that, obviously. It is a practice, so the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. But with mindfulness in daily tasks, you can practice mindful walking. That's where you concentrate and focus all of your attention on each foot as it takes a step. So you're really paying attention to the heel of the foot and how the arch and how the toes and everything comes down and the contact with the floor and the pressure of the floor. And then taking a notice of like all the muscles and tendons and bones and the skin and all that's required of walking. And because these are things we don't think about at all. You don't think about walking, but you're just taking a moment to kind of consider all the effort that it takes your body without us being conscious is really quite incredible. Of just a simple task of walking. So you can practice that, and then you take some steps, and then you could sort of expand that out towards the people around you. You can expand that out also to the sounds that you may hear, the birds singing, maybe the sun, how the sun feels on the different parts of your skin. And you're just taking a moment to be mindful about your environment. And I think so many of us are constantly stressed out and rushing around, and we're on our phones all the time, that we don't take the tiny miracle that it is to simply walk and to also feel how good the sun feels on your skin, or maybe stopping to smell a flower. And they're just simple joys of life that'll just enrich your daily life so much. Another one of my favorite practices is mindful showering. And I just take a moment to really just sit in gratitude of the fact that we have fresh running water, hot water, whenever we need it. I mean, not everyone in the world has that. So just taking a moment to recognize that and to be so appreciative and grateful of this, hot water on my skin, how it feels on my skin. Also, buy yourself a really lovely shower gel. I like Dr. Brummer's. It's a vegan, cruelty-free soap, and it smells like lavender. And lavender is really good for de-stressing and relaxing. For me, it's like instant calm every time I smell it. But I lather up. This makes me feel good. The smell, how good the smell is. Take that in consideration. And then just as you lather your body up, how it feels, the pressure of the sponge against your skin, and then also taking time to express gratitude to the different parts of your body. You can do it while washing dishes. You can do it with anything, basically.
I love it.
Yeah. Thanks.
I think that's one of one of the main reasons I love being at the beach so much is because I can just sit there and feel the sun on my skin, and it just super calming.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. And the hot sand against your back. Oh my God.
We need to plan a vacation soon, by the way, when we're done with this.
Okay.
Tell us more about the creative visualization.
Yeah, so I do safe space creative visualization. It's really suitable for all times, really, but for times of stress to calm the nervous system. And it's just like a really relaxing, healthy way of bringing positive energy into your mind and body. And then it's also really cool because it's expanding your capacity for creativity. So we're basically focusing our minds on more calming, serene images, and that helps our nervous system relax. So basically what I do is I guide through a body scan. So it's basically focusing on different parts of the body and allowing tension to release. And then kind of exploring body awareness and knowing that like whatever you put your focus on helps your body to release, even if it's just a little bit. So we start off in that way, and then using your imagination, I guide you to take you someplace in nature. It can be someplace you've been before, someplace you've seen in a movie or picture, or you can completely build it entirely by your imagination. So I guide you through that to visualize what it'll feel like on all levels to be in this space. What's really cool is the subconscious mind doesn't discern whether something is real or vividly imagined, which is amazing. So by doing this, we're able to really build like a safe and calming space for yourself, and your body will respond. It's quite miraculous, actually.
Yeah, I remember. We did the one on New Year's Day, and my place that I imagined where I was obviously on the beach. I think I was in Costa Rica. I think I even told you later that day, like I still felt like I was on the beach, and it was like one of the best days I've had.
Yeah.
So
That's great. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, you're constantly thinking negative thoughts. I mean, most people are. And if you're not, then I need to know your secrets, so contact me. But so why not use your imagination for good and see how you've been living your entire life on this earth, letting negative thoughts swirl around in your mind. Think about that, what that does to your body and to your health. Why not use your imagination for a place of good and peace and healthy and healthier ways of thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. So you wanted to also share a meditation that you had planned for the people that are following a low oxalate diet. I know a lot of the people listening struggle with what to eat, and have other health issues related to that, or unrelated, and worrying about what you're going to put in your mouth for every meal is, if you have to do that, it's can be very stressful. I know a lot of people have trouble sleeping. A lot of people have stomach issues with bloating and stuff like that. And I know you had some issues with bloating for a very long time after all the antibiotics. And, there was a period of time there where you couldn't go a single meal without looking like you were a couple months pregnant.
Yeah, like 8 months.
Immediately after. Yeah. I didn't want to say that, but you said it, so it's okay. Yeah. And it was immediately after each meal, every meal for a long time. And I know the meditation has really helped with that. So that's I think it's awesome that you plan something for everyone. And I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit about it first, or
I kind of just touched on it, I guess, a little bit ago, but it's the safe place, or sometimes it's called a calm space meditation. So it's basically a creative visualization meditation where I'm going to guide you through to visually create a safe place for yourself. And you can use this to come back to at any time. So once you've created this, you can use this at any moment, at any time. And it just really helps you calm the nervous system, and which is really helpful, because when you're trying to heal and your body is full of like stress hormones, it's almost impossible. Well, from what I found in my experience, it was impossible to heal in that way. And I think that's really where the meditation has helped me, and I hope that it'll help all of you too, is to get you to this calm place so you can sleep better, so that your body can digest, that you can heal in a more powerful way.
Beautiful. So if you're listening and you're driving, now's a good time to pause and come back to this later.
Yeah.
Otherwise, find a comfortable place to sit, I guess, right?
Yeah.
What other recommendations do you have for getting started here?
You can do this laying down. You can do this sitting in a chair, or cross-legged on the floor on a cushion. You can do this with your eyes closed or shut, actually, whatever feels more comfortable for you. If you are sitting and you want your eyes open, just make sure you have a soft gaze at the floor in front of you, just so you're not distracted.
Gotcha. So if you're ready, let's just jump right into it.
Get comfortable in a nice seated position. I recommend, if you're sitting on the floor on a cushion, having your hips up. I like to prop myself under a pillow or cushion so your hips are up a little bit, so your alignment is in better form, with a straight spine. And just taking this time to settle in. I'm settling into the space. And just maybe checking in with yourself to notice how you are feeling in this moment. And knowing that however you're feeling is okay. And we'll begin with a simple body scan. We begin to bring all the attention and awareness to the top of the head. And all you're doing is becoming curious about sensations in the top of the head without needing to fix anything or change anything or adding any labels or judgments. We're just focusing on the top of the head. And then letting the awareness flow down now through the forehead. Maybe smoothing out the lines and the muscles in the forehead. And letting the awareness flow down now through the eyebrows, the brow bone, and the space in between the brows. And just notice if you're holding on or if there's any tension there. And if there is, just softly release. Just let it go. And then focusing on the eyes and all the tiny little muscles behind the eyes and around the eyes. And focusing on the mouth. And maybe releasing the tongue to the bottom of the mouth. And maybe gently parting the lips for a sense of ease. And then letting your awareness flow up through the jaw and the jawbone. And just notice if you're clenching at the jaw. And if you are, just softly release. Let it hang. Let it go. And then focusing on the shoulders. And if it feels good, maybe roll the shoulders back a few times or forward a few times, just getting out any tension from the day. And then noticing the entire spine. And again, all we're doing is scanning for sensations without attaching any ideas or labels or judgments. We're just becoming curious of what is in the present moment. Flowing down now through the hips and the sits bones. And maybe noticing the pressure of the sits bones against the chair, the cushion, or the floor. And how that feels against your body to be fully supported. And flowing down, noticing the upper legs and the knees. The lower legs. And then letting the awareness flow down now through the feet. And try to see if you can get a sense of the life moving through your feet. Maybe you notice tingling sensations or pulsating, throbbing. Or maybe you notice discomfort or aching. And just try to notice it without judgment. And regarding with kindness whatever is here for you today. And now try to see if you can get a sense of your whole body. Your entire body is a field of sensations. I invite you now to use your imagination to take you someplace in nature. Perhaps an island, or a mountain, or somewhere in the countryside. And this could be from your memory, or someplace you've seen in a picture or a movie, or a place you build entirely by your imagination. This space is beautiful, peaceful, and safe. No one is here to disturb you. It's a beautiful, sunny, warm day, and the whole space belongs to you. I invite you to admire everything that is around you. Imagine all the details of this place 360 degrees. Noticing, what do you see? Maybe you notice the endless blue sky, or the sunset, or the stars twinkling in the sky. Or maybe you notice a waterfall or a rainbow. Or the different colors of the flowers. Or the beautiful blue ocean. Just allowing yourself to fully surrender and admire everything that you can see. And now notice, what do you smell? The pine trees in the forest? Or the fresh earth beneath you? Or maybe you smell the salty ocean air, or flowers. And notice everything you can smell in your special space. And now notice, what can you feel? The soft, gentle breeze on your skin. The warm sun on your body. Or do you feel the waves splashing on your feet? Or maybe you can notice the hot sand beneath your body. Notice everything you can feel in your space. And now notice, what sounds can you hear? The soft waves crashing on the sand. Wind rustling the leaves. Or maybe you notice birds singing or crickets in the distance. Take a moment to enjoy listening to all the sounds that you hear. And allowing yourself to fully surrender, to let go, to breathe and relax. There's nothing you need to do right now. Just relax and enjoy your special place. Knowing that this space is always with you, and you can come back here anytime you wish. Anytime you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed. And we'll softly release the image of this space and begin to deepen the breath by taking a nice, giant, big conscious breath in and a slow, gentle exhale Just letting go. Letting go. We'll take another nice deep breath in, letting the belly expand, the ribs expand. And then a slow, gentle release. Letting go. We'll take one more nice deep breath in. Make it the biggest breath of the day. And a slow, sweet, gentle exhale. And I invite you now to place a hand on your heart, taking this time to honor yourself, this moment, and honoring your life. Thanking yourself for taking out this time for self-care and self-peace. And may you experience love, joy, and peace for the rest of your week. You can introduce some gentle movement to the body, maybe wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, maybe taking a nice stretch overhead. And then taking your time, there's no rush. Whenever you feel ready, slowly opening your eyes to the space. And taking your time. And just taking a moment to take in the space around you. Maybe noticing the colors, the shadows, the smells, the sounds. Thank you so much for meditating with me today. I am honored to be your guide.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So for everyone, while you're settling back in, Amy, if you want, tell the people a little bit about, where they can find you, if they want to learn more about meditation, if they want to maybe book a session with you, or where they can find you online.
Thanks, yeah. So if you're on Instagram, you can find me at Amy Rutledge 443. That's AMYRUTLEDGE 443. And then you can find me on the Insight Timer. Actually, I highly recommend this app. It's a free meditation app, and there's thousands of meditations from people all over the world, and that's free. You could find me there, and I actually believe that I do the calm space visualization. So you can just type in Insight Timer Amy Rutledge, and then I am on Facebook as well, so it's Meditate with Amy, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Meditate with Amy. So I can do online sessions through Skype, so I can do private sessions. I can do house calls too if you're in the area, New York City, Brooklyn, Queens, northern New Jersey. I'm happy to do that. And
if people want to send you an email, is there what's the best email address?
Oh yeah, so meditatewithamy@gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out. I can help if you have any questions. I'm here. I'm happy to do so.
Yeah, I think everyone will really appreciate that. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with? Any thoughts or recommendations or anything we didn't cover that you think would be useful?
Yeah, I think just for people to know that I believe that the key to my healing was believing that I deserved a better life, believing that I deserve to be happy, that I am worthy. And this started as a little tiny seed when I started to meditate. So just know that you are worthy and capable of healing, that nothing is impossible. And to try the meditation practices. And just truly believing and knowing that it's possible to heal, and that it's possible, and that it's our birthright, truly, to have a happy, healthy, fulfilled life. So I just wish you all many blessings and so much healing and light and love. And also to take time to really care and love for yourself. I think it's a lot of things that is very elusive and evades us as human beings, is taking the time to truly give yourself love and care before you give it away to anyone else. It's really important, and that those two principles I believe, were the seeds and that led me to miraculous healing. So I know that it's possible for everyone else too. You just have to believe it. And I do that through the meditation and the Louise Hay book. I also really highly recommend Dr. Wayne Dyer. He's he's pretty famous spiritual leader. And he has a 6-part series that's free on YouTube, and it's called Manifesting Your Destiny. And he teaches you a sound meditation at the end, which is really powerful, and it feels really good. So I highly recommend listening to that as well. And I think through these 3 things, it's what really led me on the healing path, and to self-love and self-discovery, and to know and then truly believe that I am worthy of a happy, fulfilled, and healthy life that I know is available to all of you as well. So many blessings.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the meditation, and I hope you're able to incorporate some of what you heard here today into your daily life. 20 minutes of meditating in the morning and 20 minutes at night is ideal for a lot of people, but working your way up to that slowly is also 100% okay. Even 5 minutes here and there can be beneficial for your mind and your body, so don't get discouraged if you can't do 20 minutes right off the bat. If you're interested, Amy and a friend of hers are hosting a free online meditation event this Tuesday, May the 26th at 7 p.m., and anyone is welcome to join. If you want to sign up for that, you can click the link in the show notes to register. That's at lowoxalatekitchen.com/podcast. If you aren't able to attend, make sure you follow Amy on social, on Instagram and Facebook, to be notified of upcoming events. As always, if you have any questions, send me an email. It's lowoxalatekitchen@gmail.com. And thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.